despite our human condition. Isn't this not what it says in Psalms 118:24? This is the day that the Lord has made. Let us rejoice and be glad in it. I think of the 7 days of creation. I think of the Garden of Eden. I think of heaven that is waiting for us. I think of the glory of Christ coming. I mean, when the wise men saw the star, they rejoiced exceedingly with great joy. Not because of the star, but what the star pointed to. When the angels came on that eve, and the one angel stood before the shepherds, and the glory of the Lord shone in him, the shepherds were very afraid. But the angel said, "Fear not, for today I bring you great news." Boy, my tongue is... I think the coffee's wearing off. Of great joy to all men who please him. That in the city of David there is one who was born, Christ the Lord. And then a whole multitude of heavenly hosts appeared, filled the sky with song and praise and worship and glory. Salvation should cause us to glory and to rejoice and to be exceedingly glad. We have other things that should motivate us into rejoicing. In Proverbs 23, verse 24 says, "The father of the righteous will greatly rejoice, and he who begets a wise son will be glad in him. Let your father and your mother be glad, and let her rejoice who gave birth to you." Children are a blessing of the Lord. And every parent, when that baby is born, experiences that free rejoicing, that inexplicable upwelling of, shall I say, worship? We are created to be worshipers. We are meant to worship God in truth and in spirit. Our mouths were meant to give praise to God in all things. Ecclesiastes 3, verse 11 says, "He has made everything appropriate in its time. He has also set eternity in their heart. Yet so that man will not find out the work which God has done from the beginning even to the end. I know that there is nothing better for them than to rejoice and to do good in one's lifetime. Moreover, that every man who eats and drinks sees good in all his labor. It is the gift of God." If we have work, if we do work well, it is a blessing and it is a cause for us to celebrate and to rejoice. And when we look at our means of being able to create, like Marbeth. She was able to create. That was a gift of God. That came from deep within her heart, within her spirit, within her soul, that God made. And when I look at it, it causes me to ponder and to exult in God. That I can appreciate and see the talent, the tenacity. The tenacity. It takes tenacity to paint. And any of us who've tried know that it's not an easy thing. Manipulating the oils and the watercolors and whatever medium you're using, it takes time and diligence and practice. But all of that is a part of worship, and it's that which is to be celebrated. Because in the end, you have something that has beauty to it, has what's called an aesthetic to it. In Isaiah 65, it says in verse 17, "For behold, I create a new heavens and a new earth, and the former things shall not be remembered or come to mind. But be glad and rejoice forever in what I create. For behold, I create Jerusalem for rejoicing, and her people for gladness." We are the gladness of God. God takes pleasure in our being created. Created by Him, for Him, through Him, in Him. And that whole work is presented not in a moment, but in a lifetime. From our very first breath on this earth to our very last, God is the author. He is the creator. He is the sustainer. He has put the limits on what we are able and who we become. And so when we see a life that is long-lived, and I believe lived well, we should rejoice. We should celebrate it. We should be thankful that we were privileged to be a part, to be another color next to that color, as part of a grand canvas where God is the one with the brush, manipulating the paint. He is the potter. We are the clay. And He has formed us with one purpose: to glorify Him, to worship Him, to rejoice in Him. In Romans chapter 12, it says, "I urge you therefore, brethren, by the mercies of God, to present your bodies a living and holy sacrifice, acceptable to God, which is your spiritual service of worship." And how is this defined? That we are not to be conformed to this world, but literally transformed. That means we're being changed. The process of being set apart, being made holy, sanctified. That transformation